She stood in the rain like it meant something, dress soaked, hair flattened to her jaw, fingers trembling around nothing, mouth tight, eyes pinned to the door. This is where he promised her forever. A man with a hat passed, slowed. Keep walking. A woman holding a boy by the wrist quickened her pace. The boy turned to look. This is where he said it, the girl repeated. Forever, on these steps, before he went inside. The wind picked up. Rain hit sideways now. She didn't flinch. The courthouse door creaked open. Boots thudded down the steps. Sheriff Hollis, old and thick around the middle, squinted through the rain. "Miss," he said, "that's enough." She didn't blink. "You're soaked. Still, no blink. You need to go home now." Her voice barely moved. "He said it here." "Who?" "You know who." He stepped closer, pulled his coat tighter. "You have no cause to stir this up again. Go on now." This is where he told her she was safe, held her hand, said no one would ever touch her again. "You don't know that." She looked up at him, slow and full of heat. "You were there." He looked away. "I was just a deputy then. You still wore a badge. You don't get to rewrite history 'cause it aches. I ain't rewriting it. I'm finishing it." He glanced over his shoulder. A few folks had stopped across the road, watching, whispering. "You want to make a fool of yourself?" "I want him to hear me. He's dead." "Not in here." She tapped her temple. "Not in here he ain't." Rain dripped from her chin. Her dress had turned a darker shade, the hem stained with mud from the steps. She didn't move, not even to brush her wet hair aside. The sheriff sighed. "You're not well. I'm clearer than I've ever been. You come inside. Dry off. We'll talk. Number here." "It's not." This is where he said it. Her knees bled from these bricks. "God damn it." He stepped closer. "You don't shout that in public." "I ain't shouted yet." He looked at her long, rain tapping his hat. "You want to be locked up?" "I already was." "When you shut the door on her." A door behind them opened again. Deputy Sloan stood under the awning, chewing something. "You want me to grab her?" The girl didn't look at him. She said, "Ask Sloan what was in the burn barrel that night." Sloan stopped chewing. She turned to him now. "Go ahead. Tell the sheriff what you and your brother tossed in, before the wind changed." Sloan swallowed hard. "I don't know what you're talking about." She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Of course you don't." The sheriff raised a hand. "Enough. Y'all buried her, but you forgot this part. The part where she waited. Right here, for hours, like he said. She made that choice. She was 14. Silence fell, hard and thick, the kind that made bystanders uncomfortable, the kind that made them walk away, pretending not to have heard. The sheriff's voice dropped. "You're talking about things that don't help nobody. I ain't here to help. I'm here to remind you." "Remind who?" "The town. They already turned the page." "Then maybe I'll rip it out and nail it to the door. If you do that, you'll go straight to jail." "I'm used to small spaces." His jaw tensed. "Why now?" "Because yesterday I opened her box, the one he left under the floorboard." The sheriff blinked. "What box?" "You remember. You took the first one. This one he hid better." "You're lying." "Nope." "What was inside?" Her voice flattened. "A ribbon. Burnt. A drawing. 2 names. Hers and his." Sloan took a step back. She said, "You remember that song she used to hum?" The sheriff looked away. "She hummed lots of things. Number just one. Same 3 notes over and over. The same ones I've been hearing every time I pass the well." He gritted his teeth. "Don't bring that well up. She's in there. She ain't. She never left." "You don't know what you're saying." "I know the wind sounds like her breath, and when I lie down near it, I dream of her hands." "Jesus Christ," Sloan muttered. "We sealed it. Long ago." She turned her head slowly toward him. "Have you ever dreamt about it?" Sloan went quiet. "Do you wake up gasping?" He shifted on his feet. She stepped closer to the sheriff. "He told her forever, on these steps. Then I walked inside and never came back. That's the story." "Story's done." "No." Her hands clenched. "It's just been waiting for me to tell you. People won't believe you. I don't need them to. Just need the rain." "The rain?" She always loved it. Said it washed things clean, made the world quiet. The sheriff looked down at the wet steps, mud creeping up his boots. She waited here, hands in her lap, ribbon in her pocket, hummed that tune till night took her. She ran off. She was carried. He looked at her then. Not past her. Not through her. At her. Like maybe her face reminded him of something he buried too. He said, soft now. You can't bring her back, she whispered, but I can bring the promise. What promise? The one he made, out loud, in front of you. Sloane muttered, she's gonna crack. The girl said, already did. Just means light gets in. Goddamn poet now. Just her daughter. The sheriff looked at the sky. Rain is still coming. Harder now. You stand out here all night? If I have to. You'll get sick. I already am. He sighed, rubbed his face. You want to come in? Just for a second. No. You win nothing by standing here. I beat her. She's gone. She hears me. How do you know that? Because when I said his name, the courthouse door creaked. The sheriff turned, looked at the heavy door behind him. Wind rocked it again, just enough to groan. Sloane mumbled, this is foolishness. She stared at them both. Have you ever heard a promise echo? The sheriff said nothing. I have, she said. It sounds like thunder, but sad. The wind blew again. The steps are slick now. Her feet are steady. The sheriff turned away. Suit yourself, she whispered. This is where he promised her forever. And again, the door creaked. He stepped back down the steps, rain dripping off his hat brim. She hadn't moved an inch. You don't quit, do you? She shook her head. She didn't either. Tell me what this solves. I ain't solving. I'm reminded. You want pity? I want a memory. You have no right to drag this out. She had no right to disappear. She ran. She waited. Then they came. He pulled the coat tighter around his chest. You think standing here makes a difference? It already has. Folks looking. Folks whispering. They'll forget tomorrow. They forgot her already. That's why I'm here. He stepped closer. What do you want? Names. Whose? You know. No. Yes. I said no. She stared through him. Deputy Jacks, Reverend Cole, Lester Gray, Amos Dunn, Sheriff Davis before you. Stop. 13 men, 1 girl, 1 promise. You don't have proof. I've got dates. Old stories. Pages missing from ledgers. Coincidence. Burned dresses covered graves. You got angry. That's it. Got her blood under the floor. No jury'll hear that. I ain't looking for court. I'm looking for cracks. He narrowed his eyes. Cracks. In their voices, in yours. Bull. In Sloane's hands. They shake when I say her name. That boy doesn't shake. He shook last night. Are you spying now? Listening. You ain't right. She hummed while they took her. Same 3 notes. Every night I hum it and wait. For what? For someone to break. You think we're scared of you? I think you're tired. He wiped rain from his lips. You know what your father did. He carved promises. He forged names. He believed her. He was drunk half his life. He was sober when he built her the box. He squinted. What box? Same one you took and never logged. You're guessing. I was under the floor when you pulled it out. He blinked. Little girl, real quiet, real small. He looked away. You smelled like ash and sweat. Said we bury this. And it's done. That's enough. You kicked the wall, slammed the trap shut. Stop it. I cried. He shouted, I said stop. She leaned in. But you didn't hear me. Not through the wood. He turned his back. You wore her ribbon in your breast pocket for 2 years. That's not true. I saw it. Wasn't hers. It was pink. I had stitches at the end. Shut up. She stitched her name into the ribbon so they wouldn't forget her in the dark. He spun. You're playing with things you don't understand. I lived with them. You were a child. Still am, 'cause that night never ended. You want to live in ghosts? I want them to speak. They won't. They already do. Rain is hitting hard now, puddles forming between bricks. A wind cut low through the street. You need help, he said. I need a confession. You're sick. I'm a ledger. He stepped closer. Say that again? I hold every word, they choked back. You're a damn fool. And you're a coward. He looked like he might strike her, but he didn't. She whispered. She called your name when the rope snapped. He shut his eyes. She was 14. You were 29. You said, trust me. Don't. She did. I told her to go home. You said you'd walk her there. His hand balled into a fist. She said, "Did you?" He didn't answer. Or did someone else offer a ride? I didn't know what they'd do. Liar. I didn't. You didn't stop them. I didn't think. No, you didn't feel it. The door behind them creaked. A woman stepped out, umbrella over her head. Watched, didn't speak. The girl said, "They used the church bell to cover her scream." No. They passed her body down the line. Stop. She clawed at the barn walls. There's still scratches. Enough. Your father sealed the barn shut after that. He stepped close, voice low. You say one more lie and I'll drag you in. She smiled. Truth ain't scared of jail. I'll put you in the cell. You already did. He stared. Long ago. You just didn't lock the door. You need to go home. This is home. You're shaking. I'm standing. He exhaled hard. What do you want from me? A name. Why? Because her name's missing, and somebody has to be there instead. He said nothing. She used to sing to the horses. She was kind. You remember kind. He looked away. She didn't belong here. She did. She was in trouble. She was hungry. She was a liar. She was a child. He dropped his voice. She made it up. Then why do you still wake up sweating? You don't know that. I hear you walk the porch. He stared. Have you been watching me? I watch everybody who forgot her. Are you trying to scare me? I'm trying to see if your spine still works. You don't talk to law like that. You ain't law, just a man with keys. You're not above jail. You think a cell scares me? I'll haul you in. Go ahead. You want this? I want the silence to end. He said nothing. She stepped down one step. Just one. This is where he promised her forever. I know what he said. You heard it. I did. You let it rot. I didn't know. Stop lying. I thought she'd be okay. You thought she'd vanish quietly. He nodded once, slow. And she did. A long pause. She whispered, You can't warn me. I can. Number Y already broke. He stepped back. If you don't stop, I'll put you in a cell. She stepped down one more brick. Rain is steady now. Straight down. You already did, she said. Long ago. The rain kept falling as they led her inside. Her steps left wet marks on the courthouse floor. She didn't look down once. Sit, the sheriff said. She stayed standing. He glanced at Deputy Sloan. Get a towel. No need, she said. I'm used to being wet. The sheriff shut the door behind her, clicked the latch. Not locked, just closed. You're not under arrest, he said. I know. But you're not walking back out either. That's fine. The front desk clerk peeked around the corner, then quickly disappeared. Somewhere down the hallway, a radio buzzed and stopped. Quiet again. The girl stared at the wooden bench, didn't sit. Instead, she stepped toward the wall and placed one hand on it. This room's got memories, she said. It's just a hallway. Not to her. Sloan came back with a towel, threw it toward her. She didn't catch it, let it drop to the floor. Are you cold? Sloan asked. Always. He looked at the sheriff. Are you sure about this? She wants to talk. Let her talk. She's not right. She's not lying either. The girl turned. You hear that? Progress. The sheriff walked behind the desk, rested his hand near the old appointment ledger. You remember when she first came to town? The girl asked. No. She wore red boots. Everyone stared. I don't. You do. You just won't say it. Won't say what? That you wanted her to. That's enough. She was 14. You were 30. And still, you looked. He slammed the ledger shut. Sloan shifted. Don't say that. Why not? It's the truth. You weren't even born. My mama told me. She lied. She never lied about that. She was confused. She was broken. There's a difference. The sheriff sat down. I looked at the girl for a long time. She told you everything? Not everything. Just the parts she couldn't carry alone. Your father filled in the rest? He carved it, she thought, but didn't say it. Instead, she said, he kept every stamp he ever made, sealed them in wax, labeled the promises on the back. Crazy old man. He believed in follow-through, until he drank himself into the grave. He drank 'cause you broke her. You blame me. I blame all of you. She disappeared. She was taken. No one saw. You all saw. We searched. Number you're buried. Sloane said. I dug in that field 3 nights and skipped the barn. It was locked. You had keys. It was boarded up. You know what's under that barn? Nothing. Lies. Sloane turned red, looked at the sheriff, then back at her. You need a doctor. She stepped toward him. I need a shovel. The sheriff raised a hand. Enough. The room went quiet again. A minute passed, maybe more. Finally, she asked, You ever stand by that well? The sheriff looked away. It hums. No, it doesn't. You can feel it, under your shoes, like something's breathing. Old pipes. No pipes out there. Then wind. Wind, don't whisper her name. Sloane muttered, She's cracked. She ignored him. I went out there last week, took off my shoes, put my ear to the dirt. The sheriff stood. Don't say it. I heard her. You didn't. She said, he said forever. Same as I said. You're scaring people. They should be scared. We sealed that well. Not good enough. You're just a girl with grief. Number, I'm what you made. The sheriff walked to the window. Rain is still falling. She waited out there for him to come back. She said, Knees cut from the gravel, dress soaked, ribbon tied tight. We told her to go home. She had no home. She could have come to us. She tried. You closed the door. Not true. She stood on this porch, cried. We were busy. You were afraid. Sloane cleared his throat. Look, I don't care what happened 20 years ago. 17. Whatever. She's gone. She's not. He scoffed. What? She's a ghost now? She's in every crack, every nail, every sigh in this damn place. The sheriff turned. Why now? 'Cause I turned 17 last month. Same age. He blinked. She was my age when y'all ended her, so I figured I'd come say what she didn't get to. The sheriff sat back down. You think people will believe you? They already do. That's why you're nervous. No one's nervous. Then why am I being watched? Sloane looked at the hall. A shadow moved past. She said, Every time I come here, folks pretend I'm not real. Like I'll vanish too. Then why keep coming? Because forgetting is how you keep your power. You think you're powerful. Number, but I remember. And that's a kind of power. Silence again. She bent to pick up the towel, wrung it out, dropped it back down. You gonna throw me in a cell now? You're not under arrest. But I'm not free either. The sheriff sighed. What do you want? Your truth. I told you. Number you muttered excuses. Sloane said, You got 5 minutes, then I'm calling Doc Avery. I ain't sick. You are. She ain't, the sheriff said quietly. They both looked at him. He kept staring at his hands. She's not. The girl whispered, The well's still open. You just pretend it ain't. They gathered in the back office. Rain is still pattering on the windows. The girl sat by the heater, arms crossed, dress still damp. Sloane paced. She's cracked, he said. She's not violent, the sheriff said. Don't mean she ain't dangerous. She hasn't touched anyone. She doesn't have to. Words do worse. The girl looked up, then maybe stopped listening. Sloane glared at her. Do you enjoy this? No. Sure sounds like you do. She said nothing. The sheriff leaned against the file cabinet. She wants us to check the well. Sloane snorted. Of course she does. Out by the cottonwood, the sheriff said. I know where it is. Everyone does. She says it's still breathing. That's not even a thing. The girl spoke again. Have you ever stood over it, Sloane? No. You should. I ain't falling for ghost stories. It hums. Shut up. Low and steady, like someone trying to sleep. God damn it! The sheriff raised a hand. Enough. They went quiet. The third deputy, Howell, leaned against the doorway, arms folded. He hadn't said much. The sheriff looked at him. Well? Howell shrugged. It's just a hole in the ground. Have you been out there lately? No. Ever. Once. When? Years back. The girl watched him now. You see anything? The sheriff asked. Howell rubbed his jaw. Just broken boards, rotted rope, that's all. Sloane laughed. See? Howell added. Something dead too. Could have been a raccoon. The girl said, could have been a girl. Jesus. You didn't check. There was no reason. She was reason enough. Howell shifted. Sloane stepped forward. I ain't wasting time on mud and bones. Have you ever seen bones out there? The girl asked. No. You sure? Yes. Howell said, quieter now. I saw something once. They all turned. What? The sheriff asked. Howell didn't answer it at first. It was late. I was just walking. I heard something strange, went to look, and I lifted one of the boards. Just for a second. Sloane scoffed. Howell ignored him. There was something pale. Down there. What kind of pale? Like skin. The room went still. You tell anyone? And the sheriff asked. No. Why? Didn't want to sound like her. She smiled. Smart man. Sloane turned on him. Are you serious? I'm just saying what I saw. Sloane muttered. Bull. The girl stood. Take me there. The sheriff looked at her. Now. Yes. It's still raining. So? It's near dark. All the better. You really want to drag us through mud? Number, I want you to look her in the face. Sloane shook his head. You're all crazy. She waited for you once, the girl said. Maybe she's still waiting. No one's waiting. You don't know that. The sheriff picked up his hat. Fine. Sloane froze. What? I said fine. You can't be serious. She's not letting it go. She's delusional. She's not wrong. Sloane stared at him. You believe her? I believe she believes. That's dangerous. It's honest. You're going to follow her into the dark? The sheriff looked at the window. Maybe that's where the truth's been hiding. Howell muttered, Ain't that the damn truth? The girl moved to the door. Are you coming or not? Sloane growled. I'm not walking through rain for a fairy tale. Then stay. You don't tell me what to do. She looked at the sheriff. Leave him. The sheriff nodded once. Grab a light, Howell. The girl opened the door. The wind hit first. Cold. Sharp. But she stepped into it like she'd been waiting for it. They walked slowly, boots dragging through mud. The cottonwood in the distance crooked like an old shoulder. Howell held the lantern high. Are you sure about this? Keep walking, the sheriff said. The girl didn't speak, just moved forward. Do you remember this place? The sheriff asked. Every nail. I ain't been here since they boarded it. No one has. They reached the tree. The boards are still there. Old, split, nails rusted. The girl knelt beside them, ran her hand across the wood. She sat here. That night, she said, waited, hummed. Can you feel it? She asked. The men stood silent. She pressed her ear to the ground. There. What? Howell asked. She looked up. It's breathing. The sheriff crouched, touched the dirt, said nothing. Sloane's voice came from behind them. You're all damn fools. They turned. He stood in the dark, coat pulled tight, shotgun over his shoulder. You couldn't stay away? The sheriff asked. I don't like being left out. The girl smiled. Afraid of what we'd find? He glared. Let's get this over with. Howell dropped the lantern. Light spilled over the boards. The sheriff grabbed one side, nodded. Howell took the other. Together, they pulled. The first board cracked. Second groaned. The hole opened. Cold air spilled up. They all stood still. Howell shivered. Smells like earth, the girl said. And memory. Sloane muttered, I'll puke. She pointed. There, that corner. The sheriff lifted the light. A faded ribbon. Caught on a nail. Howell whispered, That ain't been there long. The girl stared. Sloane stepped forward. Could be anything. No, the girl said. That's hers. How do you know? She stitched her name on the end. They leaned closer. The thread was red. The sheriff looked at Sloane. You still think she's lying? Sloane didn't answer. The wind picked up again. The girl said, She never left. The sheriff whispered, Fine. We'll see. They walked in silence, rain falling steady. The girl led, barefoot through the mud, steps sure, soaked dress clinging like a second skin. She didn't turn around once. The sheriff followed close behind. Howell a few paces back. Sloane last, muttering with every step. She's got us chasing ghosts. No one's chasing, Howell said. Just following. Sloane wiped his face. Same thing. The girl called over her shoulder. You could have stayed behind. And missed this circus? Hell no. Then keep up. Are you always this mouthy? Only when I'm right. She didn't wait for his answer. just kept walking. The sheriff said, "Slow down. No time. It's not going anywhere. Are you sure about that?" He didn't answer. The cottonwood rose ahead of them, crooked and tall, branches bare. Beneath it, the well waited. Same boards, same rusted nails. The girls stopped. There. They caught up, breath heavy, boots thick with mud. Sloane looked around. Same damn place as before. "Not the same," she said. "Not tonight." Howell shined the lantern low. Boards slick and dark. Wind pushed through the tree, making a low groan. The girl pointed. "She's still down there." Sloane rolled his eyes. "Could be a dead dog. She didn't wear ribbons. Animals fall into holes. She didn't fall." The sheriff stepped up. "You sure?" She waited. She asked for help. None came. She could have run. She couldn't even walk right. "Don't say that. You remember." The sheriff looked down. "She was hurt. She was broken. Because of you. I didn't touch her. You didn't stop the ones who did." His jaw tightened. Sloane said, "Are we really digging this thing up again?" Howell said, "Maybe we should. Are you serious?" "I heard something last time." "You were drunk." "I wasn't." "You always are." The girl knelt by the boards. "You feel it?" "What?" "Right here." She pressed her hand flat against the wood. "The ground's warm." Howell touched it. "Feels wrong." Sloane barked a laugh. "You two are insane." She looked at the sheriff. "Tell me what you feel." He hesitated, then stepped forward. He crouched, set his palm down. Stillness. Then a slow thump. He jerked his hand back. "You felt that," she said. "No." "Liar. It was just, you felt it." Sloane threw up his hands. "It's raining, hitting the boards." "No," the girl said. "It's her." "There's no one down there." She smiled. "Then why's the ground breathing?" Silence. The sheriff looked down again. Howell whispered, "I don't like this." "You were there that night," the girl said. "No, I wasn't." "Yes, you were." "You can't know that." "I saw your boots." "You were 6." "I remember dirt under your heel." "That's not proof." "I don't need proof. I need the truth." Sloane grunted. "The truth's a waste." "You never looked her in the eye." "I don't need to." "Too scared?" "Too tired." "You carried the rope." He froze. She said, "Did you think she wouldn't feel it?" He stepped forward fast. "Don't talk to me like that." "Like what?" "Like I'm a monster." "I didn't say that." "You implied it." "Didn't have to." His face darkened. "Say it straight." "You left her, in the dark, with her breath caught in her chest. She was gone before I got there." "Was she?" "I never saw her." "But you saw her shoes." He blinked. "You picked one up. Put it back down." "That's not true." "It is." Howell muttered, "Enough." The sheriff said, "We open it." Sloane spun. "You what?" "We open the damn thing." "You lost your mind." "Maybe." "Sheriff, she's right. Something's off." "Off doesn't mean dead girl. It means unfinished." "She's playing us." "I know." The girl said, "Not playing. Digging." He looked at her. "Why?" She waited. "She's not here." "She is." "You're guessing." "She said she'd stay. She promised me." "When?" "In dreams." Sloane groaned. "Jesus Christ." The sheriff grabbed a crowbar from Howell's pack. He wedged it under the edge. The board cracked. Sloane backed up. The girl smiled. Howell raised the lantern. The next board popped. Then the third. The hole opened again. Dark. Wide. The smell of damp rot climbed up. They stared down. The sheriff spoke first. "Nothing." She pointed. "Wait." Something pale. Not ribbon. Not cloth. Flesh. Sloane stumbled back. The sheriff said, "Bones." Howell leaned closer, still wrapped in something. The girl knelt. "Don't touch," the sheriff said. "I won't." She whispered, "You see now." He didn't answer. "You feel it now?" Sloane turned away. Howell whispered, "What do we do?" "Dig," the sheriff said. "And if it's her?" "It is." "How do you know?" He looked at the girl. "She told us." A wind cut through the tree. The boards shifted again. A slow, low creak. Then stillness. The rain hadn't stopped. I just changed the rhythm. Softer now. Like it was listening. They stood around the open well. Cold air spilled out like breath. The lantern flickered. Sloane broke first. Could be animal bones. Howell said, "They're wrapped in fabric." Still, the sheriff crouched. "That's not a raccoon." Sloane took a step back. "It doesn't mean it's her." "She had a ribbon," the girl said. Sloane snapped. "Plenty girls wear ribbons." "This one had her name stitched." "You saw it?" "She showed it to me. Before." "Before what?" "Before you dragged her away." He barked to laugh. "I never touched her." "You were there." "Bull. Bootprint matched your heel." "Lies. Ledger, don't lie." "Damn ledger's long gone." "I found the copy." Sloane turned to the sheriff. "Are you hearing this?" He didn't answer. Still crouched, still staring down. The girl knelt, put her ear to the dirt beside the well. "Don't," Howell said. She didn't flinch. "It's louder now." "What?" "The song." Sloane muttered. "Hell is wrong with her." She whispered. 3 notes. Same as always. The sheriff stood, wiped his hands on his coat. "Enough." She looked up. "You hear it?" "No." "Try." "I said enough." He turned, kicked one of the loose boards. It hit the well's side. A hollow thump echoed back. He froze. Howell blinked. That wasn't just wood. The sheriff stepped closer. Kicked again. Same sound. Low, round, like something inside was answering. The girl whispered, "Told you." "Shut up," the sheriff said. "You hear her now?" "It's windy." "No, it is. It's her breath. Waiting." Sloane grabbed his arm. "We gotta seal this." "Not yet. We can't leave it open." "She's right," the girl said. "She waited too long. I'm not standing here while you all go crazy. Go home then. I ain't leaving you with this witch. I'm just her daughter." "You're poison." The sheriff raised a hand. "Both of you." They went quiet. The ground gave a faint creak. Howell turned. "That tree's shifting." The cottonwood groaned. Branches swayed. The girl stood. "It's waking." "What?" "She always said trees remember." "She said a lot," Sloane muttered. "She wasn't wrong." The sheriff moved toward the boards. "We can't just dig." Sloane said, "We shouldn't have opened it." The girl looked at him. "Are you scared now?" "I've seen war." "This ain't fear." "Then why's your voice shaking?" He stepped close to her. "You need to shut your mouth." She never did. And look what it got her. Silence got her worse. The sheriff snapped. "I said enough." They all froze. Rain hissed across the leaves. The girl said, "She's listening." The sheriff turned. "Who?" "You know who." He stared at her. "Say it," she whispered. He didn't. Sloane said, "We close this. Now." "She's still down there." "It's a hole. It's a grave." "It's nothing." "It's true." The sheriff knelt again, reached for the ribbon. Howell grabbed his arm. "Don't." "Why not?" "You touch that, you make it real." "It's already real." The girl whispered. She wrapped it before they dropped her. Sloane cursed. "Enough with the stories." "They're not stories." He stomped forward. "You want it sealed, Sheriff. Say the word." The sheriff hesitated. Sloane asked again. "Say it." He looked at the girl. She whispered, "Seal it twice. It still sings." Sloane threw the first board back over the mouth. The lantern flickered. The tree creaked louder. Howell stepped back. "Feels like we're being watched." Sloane said, "Ain't nothing here but mud and madness." The sheriff helped lay the second board. The girl didn't move, just stared. Sloane nailed the corners fast, hard. The ground trembled underfoot. The girl laughed. It started quiet, then louder, sharp, strange, joyless. The sheriff looked at her. "What's funny?" She said, "You think it matters. We're sealing it. You're feeding it. That doesn't make sense. You gave it back what it wanted." "Which is what?" "Proof that you still fear it." Sloane dropped the hammer. "You're nuts." The wind picked up, stronger now. The tree groaned again. Leaves scattered. The girl kept laughing. Thunder rolled over the hills. She looked at them all, wet hair in her face, bare feet in the dirt, and still smiling, like the ground beneath her was alive, like the thunder knew her name. The sheriff slammed the screen door hard behind him. Rain had let up, but the wind still ran cold through the trees. His boots left a trail of dried mud up the porch steps. Inside, light spilled through the kitchen window, warm but dull. The house hadn't been quiet in years. His wife stood at the stove, arms crossed, apron still on, pot untouched. "You're late," she said. "Wasn't clocked in." "You're always clocked in." He tossed his hat on the table. "I didn't ask for the speech." She turned. "You're tracking. Dirt." "I'll clean it." "No, you won't." He sat hard. "Where's coffee? Where's your sense?" He looked up. "You start too." She didn't blink. "You took her out to the cottonwood." She asked. She always asks. You always follow. "I ain't following nobody." She walked to the sink. "Then why's your badge shaking?" He said nothing. "Are you afraid of a barefoot girl now?" She stirred something. "She ain't the one stirred. You think I wanted to see that ribbon?" "No." "You think I wanted to hear those boards moaning?" "No." He rubbed his face. "Sloane's losing it." "Are you sure it's just Sloane?" "I'm fine." She set 2 cups down, sat across from him. "You didn't eat." "Wasn't hungry." "You look pale." He grunted. She sipped slowly. "You remember the last time you stepped near that well?" "I remember closing it." "You remember why?" "I told you." "Tell me again." "There was talk. Stupid talk." "From who?" "Her father." "And before him?" He said nothing. She leaned in. "You think I forgot?" "I hoped." She smiled faintly. "I was the one who stitched the ledger back together after you ripped the page." He looked away. "You buried her twice, Hollis." "She's not that well." "You sure?" He didn't answer. "She hummed when she cooked. Remember?" "I do." "She made too much soup. Always left jars on the porch for the old man." "Yeah." "She said you were kind once." He shook his head. "I was young." "You were scared." "I thought it'd go away." "She didn't." "No." "She waited. Then she vanished. And we kept eating like nothing happened." He tapped his cup. "She was just a girl. So is this one. She's different. She's the same. She doesn't know what she's saying. She knows more than we ever did." The sheriff stood, pushed the chair back slowly. "She talks in riddles. She talks in wounds." "I can't do this tonight." "You already are." "She showed up on those steps, talking forever like it meant something. Didn't it?" "She's cracked." "She's cracked because you all stepped on her too long." "She's dangerous. She's broken, same as the rest of us." The front door creaked open. Wet footsteps echoed in the hall. The sheriff turned. "You need to leave." The girl stood in the doorway, dress half dry, hair tangled, face calm. His wife didn't flinch. "She's staying." "She's not." "I invited her." He stared at his wife. "She's cold," she said. "And you owe her." "I owe her nothing." "You owe all of them." The girl stepped closer. "You told her you'd walk her home." "Not now." "You said it." "I remember." "I don't want to hear this." "She waited for you." "You don't know what you're saying." She left a note in the drawer, said if she went missing, to ask the sheriff. He froze. His wife whispered, "You found that note." "I burned it." "Number you folded it. Put it in your wallet." "I don't have it anymore." "You kept it." He sat back down. "It didn't say my name. It said your badge." The girl stepped to the table, laid something down, a torn piece of paper, ink faded, edges wet. He didn't touch it. His wife said, "She never left." "I didn't kill her." "Number, but you let others." "I couldn't stop them." "You didn't try." "I didn't know how." The girl whispered, "You just had to speak." The sheriff whispered back, "I didn't think it mattered." "It always mattered." He stood again. "What do you want from me?" "Truth." "You think that brings her back?" "No." "Then what?" "Peace. She's dead. She's waiting." "For what?" "For you." The wind shifted outside. Something clattered on the porch. The girl walked past him, opened the door. A matchbox lay on the step. She picked it up, holed it out. He took it. "What's this?" "She used to light candles when she cried." His wife said, "She never liked the dark." He stared at the box. The girl whispered, "Sometimes fire's all that listens." He held the matchbox tight. No one spoke. Then, slow and sharp, came the scratch of a match being struck. The book hit the table with a dull thud. Leather worn, corners torn, pages brittle from heat and time. His wife said, "It's still warm." The sheriff didn't answer. He stood by the window, hands buried in his pockets. The girl pulled the ledger closer. Is this the original? His wife nodded. Kept in the drawer since your father left it. Not in the courthouse. He didn't trust them. She opened it. Pages flipped slow. Ink smells like ash. Your father burned the first copy. I know. He made this one by hand. I know that too. She stopped on a page. Look here. Third line. Name scratched out. His wife leaned in. Marla Dean. Gone. She never got her land back. She never got her son. Another page turned. Ruth Canning, the girl said. She ran the post. She stopped writing letters after this stamp. That's not proof. It's enough. Another page. The sheriff shifted near the window. You don't know what you're reading. Don't I? She said. You weren't there. I don't need to be. These names sing. He turned. Sing? Like graves do, quiet but steady. His wife said, I always knew. You never said. No one did. The girl tapped the page. Look, right corner, red mark. That's his stamp, the wife said. Every girl he tried to save, every woman who trusted him. The sheriff muttered, he wasn't a savior. He tried, the girl said. He left debt and noise. He left a record. The girl flipped forward, faster now. 3 pages gone here. His wife said, they tore them. Who? No one ever admitted. But you know. The wife looked at her husband. He said nothing. The girl kept flipping. Her voice sharpened. Each name's a silence. They made deals, he said. They made disappearances. You don't know that. They all vanish after this mark, his wife said. 57 names. 57, the girl echoed. She touched each one like prayer beads. Some left. Some didn't. Some buried. Some forgotten. Another page. How many do you remember? The girl asked. He didn't answer. She looked at him. Tell me. I did my job. You buried them in ink. I protected the town. From what? From collapse. From women with voices. From chaos. His wife said, you picked order over truth. He faced her. We had kids. A house. I did what I had to. You stayed quiet. I kept us safe. At what cost? The girl said, your ledger's heavy. He crossed the room, stared down at it. It's ink on paper. It's graves. It's a lie. It's yours. His hands trembled. The girl flipped back. Look here. Harriet May. She left town, he said. She was buried by the tracks. That was ruled an accident. She was 10. He looked away. Another page. Laura Jean, age 16, last seen speaking to a man with a deputy star. That wasn't... She said she'd report him. She vanished. You think that's on me? You wore the badge, his wife said. You all did. Not just me. Enough of you. The girl tapped the corner again. The mark's always red. It meant paid, he muttered. It meant silenced. It means resolved. It meant done. His hands tightened on the back of the chair. She turned the final page. Blank. No more, his wife asked. No. That's where my name was. The girl whispered. The sheriff turned. She didn't look at him. He said he'd write it last. Why? To prove I made it. To who? To her. She closed the book. Her hands stayed resting on the cover. She said quietly, my mother's name ain't there. The sheriff stared. That's the proof, she said. The hill wasn't far, but the walk felt longer than it should have. The sky is bruised purple, wind pressing hard. The girl moved first, the ledger clutched tight to her chest. Sheriff behind her, Howell and Sloan dragging their steps. A few wives had followed too, coats clutched, eyes low. She didn't say much, only stopped when they reached the first row. 6 wooden crosses, no names. She pointed. Start here. The sheriff shifted. These were storm graves. She didn't turn. For who? Drifters. Unknown. They weren't unknown. We didn't have names. You didn't want them. Sloan scoffed. You think every unmarked grave is a crime? I think every silence is. One of the wives whispered. That one was a teacher. Another said she played piano. The girl looked back. So not strangers. The women fell quiet. Howell leaned close to the sheriff. Should we stop this? She ain't yelling. Yet. The girl moved to the next row. 5 more crosses. One cracked clean through. She crouched, opened the ledger. Page 11. 3 names scratched. Dates blurred. Red marks faded. The sheriff said, "Those are water stains." "They're erasures," Sloane said. "Could have been flooded." "Then why only these pages?" "Coincidence." "No such thing." The sheriff stepped forward. "This one," he pointed, "was marked in winter." "How do you know?" "Frost line hit early. Took the soil days to open." She stared at him. "And the girl's name?" He looked away. "That's what I thought." She stood again. "You all keep burying them, hoping we stop asking." Sloane snapped. "They were buried with dignity. No names. No room. No justice." "Shut up." She looked at him. "You mad 'cause I'm right? You don't know what you're stirring." "I know it stinks." The wind picked up. Leaves skittered across the hill. Thunder low in the clouds. She walked to the far end. Only 3 crosses there. One split, one crooked, one bare. "This one," she said. "You remember it?" The sheriff stepped close. "No." She knelt, ran her fingers across the dirt. "She ain't here," Sloane said. "How would you know?" "Because I've been standing by her memory too long not to feel it." Howell looked at the sheriff. "What if she's right?" "Then we failed." "Number you did." The sheriff said nothing. The wives moved closer now. One pointed. "I remember that cross being taller." Another added, "Used to have flowers." The girl said, "Her mother left them." "Whose?" "My mother." The sheriff's breath caught. She stood slow, face wet from rain or something older. "This grave," she said, "was meant to quiet me." "It's just wood," Sloane muttered. It's denial." The sky flashed. Lightning cracked across the field. Thunder followed, heavy and late. She faced the sheriff. "How many women have you buried twice?" He didn't speak. "How many of you are silenced in life, then silenced in the ground? Still nothing. You think names fade?" "Just 'cause the ink does." His lips parted, but no words came. "You think forgetting keeps you clean?" The wind roared. The trees below the hill bent in place. She whispered, "This ground breathes too." The wives clutched their coats tighter. Sloane turned, pacing now. "We shouldn't be here." "No," the girl said. "You shouldn't have put them here. It's a cemetery. It's a lie." The sheriff rubbed his face. "We were trying to protect the town." "From what?" "Scandal." "Justice?" He didn't look at her. The girl stepped back, ledger still in her hand. She opened it again, read names aloud, one by one, each like a wound. Harriet May. No one spoke. Ruth Canning. Silence. Laura Jean. Mary Cutter. Helen Bryce Sloane's hands curled into fists. Martha D. Nora Finn. Violet Page. The wind dropped for a moment. She said the last name soft. Anna Rose. A gasp from the women behind her. She turned. One of the older wives shook her head. She was 12. She was. She went missing. She didn't go. She was taken. The woman wept. The girl turned back to the grave. "This one ain't hers either." The sheriff stepped forward. "Then where?" The girl whispered, "Still waiting to be found." The thunder cracked again, louder this time. No one moved. The hill stood still. "The storm is breathing through it." Sloane said, "Let's go." "No." The girl said, "We stand." "Why?" "So they know we see them now." The sheriff took off his hat. "Hold it in both hands." She looked at him. Finally, he said, "I remember Violet. She nodded once. She gave me a peach once. Said I looked lonely." "You were." She smiled. "You didn't smile back." "I was afraid." "You still are." He didn't argue. The girl turned back to the hill. Ledger closed. The silence that followed was heavier than the storm. The storm didn't break. It thickened. Rain slanted sideways, sharp as spit. The townsfolk came anyway. Boots in mud, coats over shoulders, hats pulled low. They formed a loose circle around her, just beyond the graves, where the hill dipped toward the field. No courtroom, no benches, just wet ground and hard faces. The girl stood still, ledger in hand, voice sharp. "Harriet May." A voice cut through. "That was my sister." "Where is she?" "Gone." "How?" No one said. "Who saw her last?" A man near the edge. "Deputy Crane." Another voice. "He's dead now." The girl didn't flinch. "Next name." "Ruth Canning." A woman stepped forward. "She left letters behind." "To who?" "To herself." "Is she afraid?" "She stopped talking before she vanished." "She stopped writing too." Number pages just went missing. The girl flipped the page. Laura Jean, an old man, muttered, "She was promised to me. What happened? She disappeared. You search? No one did. You asked the sheriff? He said she ran. Did you believe him? I wanted to." She stepped forward, rain soaking through her sleeves. "Violet Page," a wife whispered, "they found her braid in the barn." The sheriff spoke now. "That was a rumor." "No," the woman said, "I saw it. You never told me. You never asked." The girl raised her voice. "Helen Bryce," a man called out. "She taught me how to swim. She drowned. They said so." "You believe it?" "No." She looked to the sheriff. "Still a coincidence?" He didn't answer. "Still Storm Graves?" His eyes dropped. "Sloan?" she asked. He didn't look up. "You know some of these names." "Don't mean I killed them." "You were there." "I didn't touch them." "You buried them." "I was told to." "By who?" He stayed quiet. "Say it," she said. He didn't. Howell stepped forward. "I remember Anna Rose." The girl's voice softened. "She was 12. Played marbles near the well." "You saw her?" "The day before she vanished." "Then what?" "I saw her walking toward the cottonwood." "Alone?" "No." "With who?" Silence. The girl stepped closer. "Say it." Howell's jaw clenched. "Your father." The crowd stirred. She stared at him. "No." "I didn't know?" "No." "I thought he was helping." "You saw him take her?" "Number just walking." The girl's hand shook on the ledger. "I'm sorry," Howell said. She didn't answer. A voice called from the back. "What's this for?" Another joined. "Ain't no judge here. No jury. No law." The girl lifted her voice. "There's truth." Someone shouted. "What good's the truth if it's too late?" "Too late for what?" she asked. "Justice." "Justice ain't a door you walk through." "What is it then?" "A name remembered." "You want apologies?" "I want silence to stop being safe." The sheriff stepped into the circle. "You've made your point." "No," she said. "You haven't made yours. I've been here longer than all of them." "Exactly. I kept peace. You kept quiet. You think yelling names brings back the dead?" "Number, but it wakes the living." Voices clashed around them now, shouting, crying, accusing, defending, names thrown like stones. "You don't know what it was like back then. She was just a girl. We had to protect the town." "From who?" "She knew too much." "They all did." "Women always do." "You covered for your brother. You buried your guilt. You burned the letters. I remember the ribbon. I remember the scream. I remember breathing well. I remember. The girl raised her hand. The noise didn't stop. She shouted, "Enough!" Rain hit harder. They fell quiet. She looked at them all. "You want answers?" No one spoke. She turned, pointed back toward the trees. "Ask well." "They came at dawn. Rain gone. The air is thick. Sky low, like it was holding its breath. No wind, no birds. Just boots in wet grass and the slow creak of the cottonwood above." The girl stood nearest the well. Boards already pried loose, stacked beside the trunk like bones. The well yawned open, dark, waiting. She didn't speak at first. Then, "He promised her forever here." The sheriff stepped up beside her. "I remember." "You watched." "I did." "You said nothing." "I didn't know what to say." "Still don't." The crowd spread behind them, faces worn, eyes heavy. Some deputies, wives, sons, daughters, the ones who stayed, the ones who forgot. Sloan arrived late, hands in pockets, the hat pulled low. "You dig her up yet?" he asked. "She ain't buried," the girl said. He frowned. "Then what the hell are we doing?" She nodded toward the bucket. It sat to the side, rope worn, frayed from weather and weight. The sheriff picked it up. "You sure?" she said. "Pull." He dropped the bucket slowly, rope uncoiling into the dark. The wind didn't move, but something below tugged. It went taut. They stared. Sloan cursed under his breath. "Nope." The sheriff braced, pulled slow. The bucket rose, wet and heavy. Inside, cloth. He set it down, reached in. A ribbon, pink, stained. He held it up. She said, "That was hers." "How do you know?" "She stitched her name inside." He turned it. There, faded thread, almost vanished. Howell stepped closer. Anna rose. Sloane took a step back. Coincidence? The girl pointed. Drop it again. The sheriff hesitated. What's next? Truth. He lowered the bucket again. It dropped faster this time. Another tug. He pulled. A locket. Tarnished. She opened it. 2 tiny drawings. A girl. A man with a hat. That's her father, she said. You sure? He carved the lines. I've seen the same stroke on stamps. The crowd murmured. The sheriff whispered, he left this? She trusted him. He didn't bring her back. No. Why? Ask him. He's dead. She looked at the well. Not to her. Sloane's voice cracked. This is a trick. You scared? I ain't. Then stay. The girl stepped to the edge. Hold the bucket in both hands. Last time, she said. Wait, the sheriff said. What's down there? Proof. What kind? You'll see. She let it drop. They waited. Longer this time. Then the rope twitched. She pulled. The sheriff helped. The bucket rose slowly, dripping. Inside a folded paper, sealed in wax. She didn't touch it. The sheriff picked it up, peeled it open. What is it? Someone asked. He read. Quiet at first, then louder. Name, date, stamp, signature. Whose name? The girl asked. He said, Marla Dean. The crowd reacted. That was erased, someone said. She wrote it again. Sloane whispered, Impossible. The girl said she remembered herself. The sheriff held the paper like it burned. This changes everything. She nodded. Now do it. He looked at her. Do what? She pointed to his chest. You know. He didn't move. Do it, she said. He unpinned the badge. Hold it. Sloane said, Don't. The sheriff said, It's time. Sloane stepped forward. That badge means something. It did. You throw that in, it's over. The sheriff looked at the crowd. Maybe that's what we need. Chaos? Truth. You walk away from it. I'm not walking. I'm sinking. He stepped to the well, looked in. Stillness. Then slow, steady, he let the badge drop. They waited. A soft splash echoed from below. The storm didn't end. It simply softened. Wind gone. Thunder gone. Just the sound of rain. Slower now, like breath after crying. The hill was soaked, the roots full. The girl still stood barefoot at the edge of the well, dress heavy, hair clinging. Her arms by her sides, still as the wood stacked behind her. No one moved. The sheriff stood 10 steps away. No badge, no hat. His hands hung empty. He didn't look at her. She didn't look at him. Sloane stood farther back, coat dripping, mouth tight. He didn't speak. Not this time. The others, Howell, the wives, the watchers who'd followed without understanding, waited in a line that didn't close. They didn't speak either. The girl's eyes stayed fixed on the well. Open. Dark. Alive. She didn't tremble. She didn't blink. The sheriff took 1 step forward. She didn't turn. He stopped. He asked, You done? She answered, She's not. How do you know? She hasn't left. You want me to believe she's still here. Number, I want you to feel it. I can't. You never could. He looked down at the dirt, mud around his boots. A slow sink. He said, They won't forgive me. They're not supposed to. How do I live with this? You don't. Silence stretched, the kind no one dares fill. He asked, Then what? You listen. To who? To her. He nodded once, slow. She said my name. That night, I know. I kept walking. I know that too. I never meant to hurt her. You didn't have to. You just had to stay quiet. He looked at the well. She was kind, he said. She was. She braided her hair in the shape of a question mark. She wanted answers. I never gave her one. You gave her silence. She gave me a peach. I know. He took 1 more step, then stopped again. How old was she really? 14. She seemed older. She wasn't. His voice cracked. God. The girl turned her face toward the sky. The rain touched her lips. She said, This is where he promised her forever. The wind carried the words down the hill. No one corrected her. No one asked who he was. No one said a thing. They just stood. The sheriff turned. I walked down the hill slowly, head low, shoulders bare. He didn't look back. Sloane followed behind him, wordless. Howell stayed where he was, eyes on the girl. The others stepped back, not in retreat, just in distance. The girl stayed by the well. Her toes sank in the mud. The boards beside her started to swell with water. The rope coiled slack again. She whispered. I waited. Only the tree seemed to answer, creaking softly above. She looked down into the dark. She said, It's over now. The well didn't respond. The town behind her waited like a breath held. She turned slow, faced them all. No rage, no demand, just rain on her cheeks. She stepped away from the edge, past the boards, past the tree, down the hill, through the mud. No one moved to stop her. No one called her name. They just watched and listened and remembered. Behind